Making sense of politics and the cultural divide from a different perspective. This is America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant on News Radio 710 Keel.
Well, hello, everybody. This is C.L. Bryant, America on the Edge. And I got to tell you, it is a great day in the USA. And along with me is my co-host, Stephen Parr. And I want you to know that we have a fantastic show coming up for you today. Stephen, tell them who we got.
We are packed in today. Lots of stuff to cover. We've got the conflict going on in Israel and Gaza. We're working on that. We've got a member of AIPAC in studio with us to give us some inside information you're not going to hear anywhere else. Exactly right, and that's exactly what you can depend on here with America on the Edge, where you'll not live on the edge, you'll have the edge. And this day, the news cycle is just going wild. It really is. There's a lot of stuff going on out there. In addition to, first of all, let's get to our question of the day, because we want folks to be answering this. You can reach us at The American Edge on Twitter. And the question of the day is, how far should Israel go in this conflict against Hamas? How far should they go? And later on, we'll give you our opinion on it as well. And starting next week, we will start taking some calls of yours. Can't tell you if it's Monday or Tuesday, but starting next week, we will be taking your calls so that you can come in to the studio or at least be in the studio here with us on telephone, live, answering those questions. We are also talking about violence in this country. Violence, of course, in Chicago's been making the news, but there's some other information on that. Will money solve the problem or not? And we'll talk about that. But let's start off speaking of money. Does money solve the immigration issue? The president has asked for $3.7 billion. There's a Senator Tom Coburn. He thinks we don't need that much money. Listen to this, CL.
Here's the other side of it the American people ought to know. The president just asked for $3.7 billion. For less than $20 million, we can fly them all back first class. So think about how stupid our policy is. For less than $20 million, yeah, they all go back. First class. First class. Yeah, that's the wide chairs. I've never flown first class anywhere. I've gone business class. I've gone military standby to Hawaii. I flew to Hawaii in a sling. Oh, let me tell you, baby. First class is good. Yeah. And you know what though? I don't think, Stephen, that the president gets it. He doesn't understand this. And you know what? The American people, I believe, almost en masse right now are beginning to understand that we don't have a leader on any of this. See, here's the thing. Whenever I hear the president ask for money, I remember the words of Rahm Emanuel. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Are you saying this is by design? I'm not saying necessarily the crisis was by design, but I'm saying he sees that he's messed up and he's now got a crisis, and the solution is more government. More government made a problem, so the solution to more government is more government. Never let a crisis go to waste. There's a question that we got to ask, and we have to answer this question too. Has Obama ever received a paycheck that wasn't a government paycheck? I believe he did. Well, I guess it was technically a government paycheck when he was at the university. He was receiving money from the state. Yeah, that was still state money. I don't think he has ever received a paycheck himself that was not a government paycheck. So the expansion of government and dipping into the government well is something that he has been doing all his life, basically. So expanding $3.7 billion, you're giving it to people who then you can turn into voters for bigger government, and you can hire more people who join government unions who then vote for your party. And you know something? Black folks, I believe, too, are beginning to see one thing, that they are being abandoned by this first black president because he is now pandering to a vote, I believe, that he thinks will turn Texas blue and probably the Southwest blue. He thinks the same thing about Arizona. Yeah, they're trying to turn Texas and Arizona blue by making it more brown, not making it more black. It's a very racist proposition that's out there. It's bothered me from the very first moment I heard it.
because it is so racist coming from the Democratic Party.
It's subtle.
It's not about policy.
No.
It's about skin tone.
It is a very subtle type of racism that is going on here. And, of course, we won't go into the Haitian thing and all that type of thing, but when you have people coming from Guatemala all the way here to this border and crossing it, and then relying on U.S. dollars to sustain them from the first black president.
Right.
Something is sort of out of whack. We're going to have a clip tomorrow of a lady in Houston, I think you told me.
Yeah, and she's not very happy about that. But, yeah, that's coming up tomorrow. We're going to keep digging on this. There's so much on this, and there's so much to talk about. There's a new poll out today. Let's get back to politics here, Louisiana politics, and the Landrew Cassidy race. It really is at this point mostly a two-person race, but not completely. New Rasmussen poll came out today and said that Landrew leads with 46% of the vote, if the vote were held today. Cassidy has 43%. 5% said they would vote for some other candidate, and 6% said they're not sure. So if you take that 5 and 6, you add that up, that's 11%. You add 11% to Cassidy's 43, Cassidy wins the election by a lot.
And, I was there when Donald Trump said to Rob Maness, ask him the question, how many percentage points do you have?
And at that point, it was 8. It's gone down.
At that point, Maness had 8 points. And I don't think he intends to get out of the race. But to all of those out there who are skimming off points from Cassidy, hey, let's think about what we're truly doing here.
Well, here's the other thing. If the 11% goes to Cassidy in the runoff, then Cassidy wins in the runoff. However, if that 11% doesn't, if that 11% stays home and sits on its hands, Landrew wins re-election.
And she's the queen of doing that.
Right.
She wins by 3 and 4 points all the time. And it's because we pick each other off.
So that is pretty interesting information out. Plus one other story that came out today. The EPA may be taking down a historic peach orchard here in Louisiana. And that is a policy that really has some problems for people trying to run a business around here. It's a peach orchard over by Russin. 46 years it's been in business. And it looks like these EPA policies have taken it from 60 employees down to 20, and the owner of that orchard.
That peach orchard is iconic, man.
Mitchum Farms.
46 years?
Mitchum Farms, 46 years. They say the EPA is running them out of business.
They got to be on the edge about that. This is CL Bryant along with Stephen Parr, America on the Edge. We'll be back in just a minute where you'll not live on the edge. You'll have the edge. We'll be back.
You're listening to America on the Edge with CL Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
Citizens Bank and Trust. One stop for all your financial needs. Member FDIC.
You don't have to go far to get away from it all. Just 30 minutes south of Shreveport in the historic village of Grand Cane stands the Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast. This stately treasure was built in the mid-1800s before the Civil War. Today, antiques and homemade quilts fill king and queen size suites. Rooms come fully furnished with private baths and free cable and Wi-Fi. Plus, you get a homemade country breakfast from Grand Cane Gourmet Jane Bryant included in your reservation. The Cook Hill House is the perfect place for weddings, receptions, parties, and showers, or when simply planning your next staycation. Call the Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast at 318-858-0800. 318-858-0800. That's 318-858-0800. Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast. Victorian elegance with country charm.
Most people never get honest feedback. Bad breath, no one tells you. There's food on your nose and you just don't know. But if you don't get honest feedback on your finances, your retirement could be a nasty surprise. I'm Joe with Future Advisor. We'll look at your portfolio and tell you what the future holds. Our chartered financial analysts and math PhDs created software to make the work formerly done by money managers obsolete. We've been featured in Fortune, Wall Street Journal, and Fox News, and our software is so efficient, we'll show you how to fix your investments for free. Getting the Future Advisor report on your portfolio takes about 2 minutes. This report will show you how to retire sooner. And if we can't shave at least 1 year off your retirement, we'll send you $100. That's right, $100 for 2 minutes of your time. Go to futureadvisor.com/radio and get the details. Get an honest report about your money and a plan for the future in under 2 minutes for free. futureadvisor.com/radio. That's futureadvisor.com/radio.
Conserving water is mostly a matter of using good common sense. If everyone that used the Sparta aquifer simply turned the water off while they brush their teeth, we could save 1.5 million gallons of water per day. Before brushing, wet your brush and fill a glass of water to rinse your mouth. The declining Sparta aquifer is our main water source in North Louisiana. Do your part for water conservation. Be Sparta smart. Make every drop count. This public service announcement is brought to you by this radio station, a member of the Sparta Media Network.
This is Jim Lucas with Don't Major on the Minor, number 491 of 1001 Ways to Connect with Your Kids. Pick up your toys. Watch what you're doing. Don't spill your milk. Your clothes don't match. Eat your peas. Mom and Dad, are you nagging yourself right out of a relationship with your kids? Don't major on the minors. Major on the majors, building a healthy bond with a mature, spiritually rooted child.
From Tyndale House, 1001 Ways to Connect with Your Kids.
Giving you the edge. This is America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
Welcome back to America on the Edge with C.L. Bryant. I am Stephen Parr, and we are asking you, how far should Israel go in its battle against Hamas? Let us know at The American Edge. At The American Edge, it's our Twitter handle. You can send us some tweets on that. You can also reach us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/America on the Edge. We want to know from what you guys think about this. CL, we haven't heard anything from the president on this until this afternoon.
Yeah, and it's very poor leadership for him to not be speaking to our best ally in the Middle East. Although I think Egypt and the rest of the crew in the Middle East, they're tired of Hamas. They're hoping that the Jews take the gloves off and just go after them. I think if we just let them do their thing, I think they would end this thing.
Well, and it seems like Netanyahu is in no mood to play around at this point. Israel has mobilized 20,000 ground troops, and it looks like they don't really want to do this because this is a risky part of any operation, but it looks like they are going to send ground troops into Gaza.
What I like about Benjamin Netanyahu is the fact that he is very decisive, the type of leadership that we need in this country. In fact, Stephen, I've said this before, but I believe that the next leader of America needs to be a leader of men like Netanyahu. I'm sorry to say it, but our president is just not decisive when it comes to the things of this country anymore.
Well, let's listen to Netanyahu from a press conference he had earlier. This is from the Israeli Prime Minister's office. From Benjamin Netanyahu.
Hamas and other terrorist groups in Gaza are firing rockets on cities throughout the state of Israel, on Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Haifa, Beersheba, Sderot, and other cities. No country on earth would remain passive in the face of hundreds of rockets fired on its cities, and Israel is no exception.
I'm not sure Obama would even take a stance then. For a president like Netanyahu. For a leader like Netanyahu in America at these perilous times. It would be very interesting to see what he'd do with this border situation here in this country.
And there's certainly people who would love to be able to fire rockets at the U.S. We're fortunate that we have two oceans between us. But in Israel, there's no ocean between. You've got basically a lake. Israel's the size of East Texas.
Yeah.
That's it.
Can you imagine if Canada or Mexico were lobbing rockets over here and hitting Omaha and places like that?
Let's just make it smaller. What if Marshall was lobbing missiles at Bossier?
That would be bad.
And that's the space that we're talking about here. Caddo Parish is about the size of the Strip of Gaza.
And there has to be decisive action, and there has to be someone with a plan. Now, the defense mechanism that Israel has is a two-tiered, a doubled fence that if, in fact, someone is able to get through the first stage of it, then there is an alert that basically have people there when they are about to breach the second tier of it. A fence like that could probably cost us, government money, probably about, $33 billion or something of that nature. If you and I built it, it cost, 10 times less. But why can't we have something like that for the type of money that Obama's asking for?
For the immigration issue, yeah. He's asking for that 37 billion, 3.7 billion.
Yeah.
And yeah, we could certainly build a pretty good fence for that. And Israel has shown that the fence they built has decreased terrorist attacks inside Israel significantly, somewhere around 90% drop in terrorist attacks inside Israel since that fence was erected.
Two people, now we're going to check this, Handsome Kyle, I need you to check this statistic, but I think that 2 people had breached that fence since it's been up.
Wow.
2.
And that's why Hamas is having to use the rockets. And now these are not guided rockets. These are unguided. And there are many reports that are saying that they're not even putting warheads in the rockets so that they can extend the range. This is more just trying to strike fear in the hearts of people. And if they get lucky and hit a power station, then they feel good about that.
Netanyahu told his people to take the gloves off.
Yeah.
In other words, don't handle them nice. Don't babysit them. Take the gloves off. Get them out of here. Let's get the job done. Again, folks, this is exactly what we need in leadership in this country. When are we going to take the gloves off with people who are and yes, I'm saying invading our sovereignty?
Well, it's interesting because the person who could take the gloves off, President Obama, actually called Benjamin Netanyahu for the first time since this event started. He called him today, this afternoon. And the president offered to broker a ceasefire. President Barack Obama, this is according to the Associated Press, President Barack Obama is telling Netanyahu that he will broker a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. And he also relayed concerns about the Palestinian who was the Palestinian-American teenager who was detained and beaten by Israeli authorities. And Israel said that they have worked on resolving that. So that's the reach out he did to Israel.
Stephen, all I got to say is, please, what type of brokering will this president do with the prime minister of Israel? I mean, and who's going to do the brokering? This president is not a negotiator. He has proven
he's really
that
not. No.
over and over again. Even Trump, the Chinese make fools of us all the time. That's because we cannot broker a deal with them. How is this president, who treats Netanyahu when he comes here to the United States, he treats him like
trash? That's right. When Netanyahu came to visit the White House the first time, instead of having him go out the nice front and have a nice little state display, Netanyahu was sent out the back, and the pictures you have are of Netanyahu standing to piles of trash out the back door of the White House.
The Israelis were absolutely livid.
Of course they were.
That their prime minister was treated in this fashion. Netanyahu has never forgotten that.
No, he was sent out with the trash. Would you forget that?
Of course not. And this is the way we treat our friends. Is this the way the president of the United States treats our closest ally in the Middle East? I mean, someone who we actually can depend on to come running to our aid when we need them. Sure, we help Israel. Sure, Israel is a dependent of ours. They are. We help them, but still, they are our truest friends, and we treat them in such a fashion.
And this is actually Handsome Kyle just got us the stat. Back in 2002, there were 135 terrorist attacks in Israel. In 2014. There were a total of 6. That's pre-wall and post-wall. That's what that wall has done.
So it wasn't 2, it was 6.
It was 6.
And so, folks, there is some merit to this type of fence.
So let's get back to Netanyahu and Obama wanting to broker the ceasefire. You have to be an honest broker, one. If you're going to be able to create a ceasefire, both sides have to trust you. And I don't think Netanyahu trusts Obama any more than Boehner trusts Obama.
How could he trust Obama? We don't trust Obama. So how could Netanyahu trust Obama? And, I say that, and a lot of people may flinch when I say that. But, folks, you're going to see in the days to come that there is a lack of trust here, total lack of trust.
The other part of it is if you're going to get a ceasefire, you have to have people who want to have a ceasefire. Now, listen to this quote. This is from the Jerusalem Post. Netanyahu held a cabinet meeting earlier today. One official, and this is the quote from the Jerusalem Post, one official said it was clear that what Israel might have accepted 2 weeks ago in terms of quiet for quiet, it would not accept now. Netanyahu would not agree to a situation whereby yet another ceasefire would be declared, which would then be taken advantage of by Hamas to tend to their wounds and resupply for the next round.
And I assure you, this president is going to ask him to give up more of their land.
And Netanyahu, that's a non-starter for him. This
cannot happen.
I think Netanyahu wants to go through and finish some of this. Now, we're not finished with this discussion because you and I are making some conjecture about this, and based off of what we know and what we see, we have a guest coming in who's a member of AIPAC, which is a political action committee for Israeli-American relations, and they are pro-Israel. And this gentleman knows a bit more about it firsthand. He's been there.
I can't wait to hear him. This is CL Bryant, America on the Edge. We'll be back in a minute.
This is America on the Edge with CL Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel. America on the Edge, brought to you by Premier Plumbing. For all your heating and cooling needs.
Have you ever thought, I wish I didn't have to search for the best price on printing or direct mail? Tired of trying to design your own material on some confusing website just to get to the end and it's not that professional look your business needs? Well, stop searching and call Graphic Industries. We've been waiting on your business, ready to help you with your printing and direct mail needs. Graphic Industries offers all types of print, stationery, brochures, flyers, catalogs, door hangers, books, pocket folders, postcards, variable printed letters, and much, much more. Graphic Industries can direct mail for you, too. You can customize a mailing list, target a certain demographic, or just flood the market and get your name in the homes of thousands of potential clients. Lowest prices, best quality, and a faster turn time. Visit us online at graphicindustries.net. or call us today at 318-222-1100. Graphic Industries, the #1 choice of printing and direct mail.
It's a Summer Sizzler Showcase. You could win a $5,000 gift card to any Louisiana Boardwalk store, including Bass Pro Shops. Presented by the Outlets at Louisiana Boardwalk. Look online to win at 710keel.com.
Prices are for base buildings only and may not be available in some areas. This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. So call General Steel now for the quality and the price in a pre-engineered steel building that you just can't beat. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How much can you save? How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $35,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first. Call 800-98-STEEL today and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. Don't let rising steel prices put your project in jeopardy. Call now to lock in your price for 3 months. Call 800-98-STEEL. That's 800-98-STEEL. Don't spend thousands more than you should. Call 800-987-8335.
Rush. He's in your face. He says what you might be thinking, and sometimes what makes you mad.
Fewer and fewer people actually have a moral core. They're not willing to stand up for their moral core. And you talk about the double standard, and one of the greatest illustrations of it is rappers can practically say anything they want about women, and it's called art.
Listen to Rush each weekday from 11 to 2 only on News Radio 710 Keel. You're listening to America on the Edge with CL Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
Welcome back to America on the Edge with CL Bryant. I am Stephen Parr, and we are talking today about Israel. It's on the edge of all-out war out there with Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and a lot going on with that. And one of the things we want to do with this show is we want to be able to give you some information that you may not get anywhere else. And that's why we've reached out to Tim Carskaddon. And Tim's from here in Shreveport, local guy, but he's also on the advisory council for AIPAC, American Israeli Public Affairs Committee.
Let's see what he has to say.
And Tim, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
You've done lobbying on behalf of AIPAC with folks up in Washington, D.C., Vitter, Landrieu, Fleming. Is that right?
That's correct. We lobby the entire Congress AIPAC is able to touch all 535 members. When we do lobbying, many times we hit every congressman and every senator in one day. And so it's a barrage. We flood the Capitol Hill, and we promote the message of standing with Israel and the Israel-American relations.
What's the difference between those who, let's use a term, who are conservative, and those perhaps who are liberal when you lobby the two? I mean, is there a marked difference?
Well, there is obviously a difference, but there is something unique about the issue of Israel. You know, AIPAC is a bipartisan organization. We lobby both sides, and we have found through the years that this is one issue. Israel, the issue is that we can get a total agreement with the Senate and the House. Many times on some of our resolutions and policies coming up in the Senate, we get 100-0 vote, and many times we'll get over 400 votes in Congress on an issue, which is unheard of in the political climate of America today. I can say pretty safely that the Israel issue in America among our Congress is the one issue that they'll agree on. We see them crossing the aisles, walking together, standing together. And when we go into liberals, office such as Landrieu, we go in there with this message, and it is one thing that because there's such unity, even on her part and upon some of the Democrats, we're able to influence them. And then that also opens up other doors for us that we can begin to have a relationship with them and then talk on other issues that we think are important.
Tim, why is Israel important? Why tell the average American listener who may not be a news hound, why is Israel important?
Well, that's a great question, because they're our greatest allies, in the region. You shared that earlier. They fight many of our enemies. We're considered the great Satan, and they're the little Satan, as we've heard it said from Iran. And they can give us information. We have strategic joint policies that we work together with. I was telling Stephen earlier today, they work with our military. We work with their military. A lot of the strategies that we work together, we get the benefit from them. The Iron Dome that you're watching right now, that has taken out many of these missiles that are coming in.
90% success rate on the Iron Dome.
That's right. America is funding much of that money for that issue. It's very costly. I want to tell you, each missile that goes up is about $50,000, and maybe once the infrastructure of loading and all goes up to $100,000 per missile, whereas Hamas may be spending $1,000 on their little rocket that they're sending in there. But the Israelis and Americans feel that life is worth it. Saving a life is worth it, and spending the money.
The amazing thing about being on the streets of Jerusalem, my wife and I have visited there, is that you actually do feel safe.
Yes.
Now you have armed soldiers on the corners in the streets of Jerusalem, but you truly do feel safe.
And that's the credit to America as well. I want you to understand that we fund $3.1 billion a year in financial aid to Israel. And most people don't realize this, but of that $3.1 billion, 75% of it is required to be spent in America. And so most of the Israeli purchases with that funding is for military equipment. And then they'll take that military equipment many times and improve it. And because of our strategic agreement with Israel, America reaps the benefits of those technologies that come out of the Iron Dome's an example. Also on our jets that we send them, they have now they take the wings off and they put better wings on them to make them fly better, as well as now they've created one new thing they created for the pilots is they created a screen within their helmet that they no longer have to look at the panel. Well, when we spend our money and help them, we get that technology back, and we improve our military on top of that as well. But obviously, it's the right thing to do. It's a democratic society. We're a democratic society, and we must stand with them. And I must say, because Congress is doing their job, and with AIPAC and other groups like that who are lobbying on behalf of Israel and for these purposes in unity, our president is looking at resolutions and policies that come with sometimes a vote of 100-0 or 400-35, and is thrown on his desk. There is no way he can refuse to sign these policies, and because they're veto proof. And how many policies are going before our president today that are veto-proof? There's very few of them. So this is something that we must stand for and continue to promote, because it's obviously it's in our interests.
So,
we do that.
Tim, I want to talk about the battle that's going on right now.
Yes.
Because Israel, some people are accused, Jordan, Middle East countries will accuse Israel of being too harsh.
That's right.
Against the Palestinians, against Palestinian people, and against Hamas itself. I don't think you hold that position with the way that Israel wages war.
No, they have to. You cannot respond with a soft answer to a war. You know, the best way the Romans say this, the best way to prepare to want peace is to prepare for war. And you have to have that. And the response is aggressive. The Hamas mindset is only an eye for an eye. And so if you don't respond properly, they're going to keep acting out. And so we've seen over 500 missiles shot in the last week, 500. And most of the world's not saying anything about that.
There's no can we all get along type of attitude in the Middle East. And I don't believe that our president understands the stakes over there. Let me ask you this, Tim, why does the media seem to be so slanted, so against the Israeli people?
Well, you know, obviously there's anti-Semitism is one root issue. It's worldwide. We see it. I travel quite a bit. I was in Ukraine this year. I was in Israel last month. Anti-Semitism is on the rise around the world. And so you have that foundation that's there as well. But the media has so portrayed Israel as the occupier, not studying the history of the land, not going back 3,000 years and studying documents, the Bible and others, that prove Israel has been in that land for that long. There has never been a Palestinian state there. There has never been an Arabic state there.
That word is a contrived, even Palestine is a contrived word, isn't that right?
Absolutely, it's made up. Here you have Arafat, who led the Palestinians all those years, and he's an Egyptian. You know, one of the things we see through all this is that the Palestinians are a toy. They're a ploy for the Arabs to come against the Zionist regime. And obviously us as America, and we're pro-Zionist, and the Christian base as well, are Zionists. You know, it's a whole thing about that. Hamas, in their documents, they in their constitution, whatever you want to call it, they say things like Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it. That's what their charter says. It says our struggle against the Jews is very great and very serious. It needs sincere efforts. Hamas is but one squadron that should be supported by more and more squadrons for the vast Arab and Islamic world until the enemy is vanquished and Allah's victory is released.
Wow.
Now, even in the Middle East, it seems to me that Hamas is running out of supporters.
Absolutely. As you know, they're a branch, you may not know, they're a branch of the Muslim Brotherhood. Mm-hmm. The Muslim Brotherhood has a long-term vision of letting the world rule through Islam. They perpetrated it in Iran. It's the perfect model. They're trying to create that model in Syria, Egypt, Tunisia, Libya. That's their model. Hamas was an offshoot of that. It's supported from Iran. The finances, the weapons all come from Iran. And their whole goal is to bring Islam into the world. Israel is their greatest enemy in the region. So if they can take out Israel, they feel like that they can begin to dominate because they know America's behind Israel. So there's also an attack on it for that purpose. And so Hamas is a terrorist organization, obviously. And now we just saw Palestine join government with them. By law in the Congress, any terrorist organization, we are not allowed to financially support with foreign aid. Right. That's by law.
Right.
Somehow, we have avoided that law on this connection right now.
Especially with this president doing what he has done as far as releasing terrorists back into the field of battle. By proxy, he is sponsoring terrorism. And as an American pastor and theologian, let me say this. I still believe Scripture as far as this is concerned. I will bless them that bless you, and I will curse them that curse you. I believe America is best suited for standing with Israel. Now, that's a religious statement. That's a statement from my faith. I know that right now it may not be the best political statement. What do you say, Tim?
Well, obviously, I'm a pastor, too. I have to agree with you on that. And I'll say
some
this.
pastors don't, Steve.
I absolutely
Some
agree.
actually say that it has changed. The church in America now is Israel.
That's right. And I do a whole teaching on what we call replacement theology, where we go and uncover that false theology. I'll say this, even in Louisiana, I want to say this. We are the number 18th trading partner with Israel in the world. Louisiana is. We have bought in Israeli bonds, and I can tell you, you can trace it. When we started buying Israeli bonds in Louisiana, our economy started turning around. And our governor general has made public statements of his stance with Israel. We have state proclamations out there of how we stand with Israel, and we support their democratic right to defend themselves and their democratic right to own their own borders and stand with that. So Louisiana is blessed because of some of these things.
I want you to say that again, so our folks, so that sinks into our people. Did you say we're the 18th?
That's right.
We're number 18.
That's the last stat I read of trading partner with Israel, and we're always looking for new opportunities to work with Israel on a financial end, on a market end, and because it's not that we're doing it to be blessed, but it is one of the byproducts of what happens when we bless, fulfilling what you just shared from your theological standpoint.
But you know what, folks, and Tim, I want to thank you so much for coming into this studio here with us today. But it's amazing how small the country of Israel is. But yet, every day, in almost every way, it dominates and has dominated world news all the time. And I want to say this. I don't believe that this conversation is going to go away. And so I would like for you to come back periodically here and give us an update on what's going on in Israel as opposed to our stance and our supporting of them. Stephen, this was a great segment.
Yeah, you really enjoyed this. Tim, thank you so much for being here. We want to know from you, how far should Israel go in their battle against Hamas? You can send us your tweets at The American Edge. We'll be right back with America on the Edge.
Giving you the edge. This is America on the Edge with CL Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
If you haven't yet, go to our website, AmericaOnTheEdge.com. It's different than most websites out there, and that's because it's not a website, it's our nation, created by Logic Nation. As we're launching this new kind of radio show, we decided to partner with a new kind of internet company. Logic Nation gives us a new way to interact with you through your existing social media platforms. We've got Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all in one place, which makes it easy. Too much of the time, social media becomes a place where we bicker and fight rather than listen and learn. Logic Nation gives us the ability to start a new conversation on air and online. So now when you go to our Nation page and start a conversation with CL or with me, we can stay focused on that discussion without getting distracted. It's going to change things, and I believe for the better. Logic Nation has an app to make it easier to browse content on your mobile devices. You can download that for free today. If you have a business that needs to reach your customers in a new interactive way, you should give Logic Nation a try.
SB Magazine, North Louisiana's premier publication, is your source for local entertainment, home decor ideas, gardening information, fashion trends, and seasonal gift guides. Every month, we take you behind the scenes at some of Shreveport-Bossier's most fun events in Ion SB. And you'll find SB Magazine everywhere. But the best way to make sure you have the most current issue is to subscribe. It's just $16 for 12 months. Call Debbie today or go to our website, sbmag.net. SB Magazine, the pulse of Shreveport-Bossier.
Now that school's out, summer has officially begun. Chances are a vacation is long overdue for your family. What if there was a place that's not too far away and not too expensive? A place with world-famous family attractions where lifelong memories are made. A place to relax, surrounded by natural wonders and peaceful landscapes. That place is Arkansas, and it's never too late to plan a visit. Get your free vacation planning kit at arkansas.com today.
ARKANSAS. Years ago, the family doctor was a fixture in communities across the country. He'd come into your home and personally treat whoever needed help. He was part of the family. Well, that wonderful practice is all but faded into memory. But you know there is someone who keeps alive the tradition of personal health care in the community. your local Health Mart pharmacist. While much of healthcare has become confusing and impersonal, you can drop by your neighborhood Health Mart pharmacy anytime, where your pharmacist will know you as a neighbor, not a number. So even if a doctor won't be stopping by your house today, you can still stop by your local Health Mart pharmacy, where the tradition of one-to-one care and concern remains strong. Health Mart, caring for you and about you. To find the Health Mart pharmacy nearest you, go to healthmart.com. That's healthmart.com.
If the number on your thermostat is going up just as quickly as the temperature outside, your air conditioner may have a serious problem. Give the friendly folks over at Premier Heating and Cooling a call at 222-1980.
This is America on the Edge with CL Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
Welcome back to America on the Edge with CL Bryant. I'm Stephen Parr. During the break, we just got a phone call from Patsy. Patsy was nice enough to call in and answer our question of the day. Her answer was, our question of the day is, how far should Israel go against their battle against Hamas? And Patsy answered, I'm a Messianic Jew.
That answers it all for us right there. I think as Benjamin Netanyahu has told his people that take the gloves off. Of course, we'll answer that question a little bit later on.
So we're talking about this battle against Hamas. Obviously, it's violence, and it is killing, and that is not a good thing.
No.
And it's not something that we condone. And there's violence in this country right now.
Violence is everywhere. You know, Stephen, you and I were talking earlier this morning when we do our prep for this show, and one of the questions, you know, it surprised me when you actually gave me the stats on it, because, folks, listen, I'm sure if I were to ask you this question, has violence increased in America across the world? Has it increased? Most of you would probably say, well, yeah, it has. But, Stephen, what's the statistics actually show?
The actual statistics show that violence in this country, violent crime, at least, that's one way to gauge it, increased from 1960 up until about 1981. So it increased from Kennedy through the Great Society, through Nixon, Ford, Carter, started turning around under Reagan. And it was dropping. It's been dropping ever since. And right now, violent crime rates, according to the FBI statistics, are about the same as they were back in 1960 per capita.
What has changed, I believe, folks, is that we're able to see things instantly.
Right.
And we get the news almost instantly, 24-hour news cycle. And I'll tell you, when the news starts telling what's going on in the streets at 1 o'clock in the morning, 24 hours a day, surely the incidents certainly seem to be more prevalent.
Well, and we see it all over the world. You know, this fighting started between Hamas and Israel, and we instantly got to see Israel showing us video of them killing 5 Hamas commandos as they were trying to come onto the beach. You can see that video right now. That's not something you would have been able to see 20 years ago.
Oh, no way.
Ago.
In fact, here closer to home, Jesse Jackson had something to say about what's going on in Chicago. Was he asking for money again?
Yeah, Jesse Jackson was. And there is violence going on in Chicago.
Big
and
time.
Violence in South Side of Chicago has actually increased. So their pockets, I'm not saying everything's perfect.
Yeah.
Their pockets where it's bad. And yes, Jesse Jackson came out and said, well, look, if Barack Obama wants 3.7 for the border and for the problems going on with those undocumented, unescorted children, we need $2 billion in the South Side of Chicago.
So Jesse's asking for $2 billion in the South Side of Chicago. So him and Rahm Emanuel.
And listen to what Rahm Emanuel told the Chicago Sun-Times press conference.
I would also say, where are the gun laws? Not just where are the police. Where are the gun laws? So you have comprehensive background checks.
Okay, so the mayor of Chicago, in the city that has the strictest gun laws anywhere in the country, is asking where the gun laws are.
The mayor is asking. Now, here, get this, folks. Visualize this. You have Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago, who already has the strictest gun laws in the country, but yet has the highest violence rates in the country, asking where the gun laws are. That is the height of hypocrisy. That is the height of ignorance. And I tell you something, down in Grand Cane, where I live, I'm telling you, there's very little crime.
Yeah, that's very true. There is, and there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it.
Yes, sir, there's a reason for it.
It's because you know that house that you're going to go up and rob, there are weapons in there, and they're within reach, and the people in those homes know how to use them. Yeah.
And this has been proven over and over again that a well-armed people, we don't have to criminals, when you take the guns away from us, are the ones with the guns. It's just common sense.
Now, here's where the statistics, to me, become disturbing. And this really, really bothers me at my core. African Americans make up about 12.5% of the population. According to the FBI, they commit 50% of the murders.
Now, folks, that is not anything put out there that's frivolous. Those are facts. And we're going to be examining as we go along with this program, America on the Edge, exactly why that type of statistic exists, because it does seem out of whack when you consider the fact that a population of people representing a small percentage, as African Americans do, account for so much of the crime.
And it's violent crime in specific. When you look at crimes like drunk driving, Caucasians, white people, account for about 80% of drunk driving.
Well, especially in Boston, I'm sure. But anyway, we won't get into that.
But that's so the violent crime is where the African American statistics rise up. They commit 50% of the murders and 50% of the robberies.
And a lot of that is on each other.
Yes, it's black on black. 75% of African Americans, of the African American murders are on other African Americans.
So, Stephen, there's not an epidemic of white men chasing down black folks, shooting them, or that type thing, but there is an epidemic of black people chasing down black people.
Yes.
Killing them.
And then, as we mentioned earlier with the Hamas deal, an eye for an eye, there seems to be that going on in neighborhoods. Right here in Shreveport, by the way, some of the murders that have gone on have been eye for an eye type of retaliation things.
Yeah. Well, it's sad, and as we build this bridge, I certainly hope that you come along with us on this journey. This is CL Bryant, along with Stephen Parr, America on the Edge.
Giving you the edge. This is America on the Edge with CL Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
If you're tired of getting nickel and dime for your company's marketing needs, GI Marketing Group can help. We're a new, evolved marketing company with no monthly fees or markups and with quicker response times. With GI Marketing Group, there is no outsourcing. We own the production facilities, everything from print, mail, video, digital, and web design. We do it all in-house. Call us today at 318-222-1100 to start saving time and money, or visit us online at gimarketinggroup.com.
Planning your next staycation? You don't have to go far to get away from it all. Just 30 minutes south of Shreveport in the historic village of Grand Cane stands the Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast. This stately treasure was built in the mid-1800s before the Civil War. The Cook Hill House is also the perfect place for weddings, receptions, parties, and showers. Call the Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast at 318-858-0800. 318-858-0800. Cook Hill House Bed and Breakfast. Victorian elegance with country charm.
Hello, this is Matt from One Planet Solar. As we reach the middle of the year, I wanted to take a minute to thank all the homeowners who have installed solar energy systems so far in 2014, making this our busiest year yet. I love getting phone calls from customers the month after installation, bragging about their low electric bills. It never gets old. I'm also here to remind folks that One Planet Solar is a full-service electrical business, with master electrician Lee Cruz anchoring our repair and service division. Lee has an excellent reputation and has been with our company since we opened almost 8 years ago. He takes care of all jobs, small or large. Don't forget that solar still has tax credits available that pay up to 80% of the cost of most systems. Why give that money to the government when you can use it to buy solar for your home? So what are you waiting for? Whether it's a solar system or miscellaneous electrical work around the house, One Planet Solar is the only choice in the Arklatex. Call 858-5000 to schedule your free quote. That's 858-5000.
If you're in need of a good plumber, perhaps you need work on your heater, or especially right now with cooling and refrigeration systems. If you need help, give the friendly folks at Premier a call at 222-1980.
Get ready for the Natchitoches NSU Folk Festival, July 18th and 19th in Prather Coliseum on the NSU campus. This year's theme is Tricentennial Natchitoches, celebrating Louisiana's folk heritage. Come see the best fiddlers in the state compete in the Louisiana State Fiddle Championship. Bring the whole family. Kids 12 and under get in free. This project is supported in part by awards from the Shreveport Regional Arts Council. Come join the fun at the Natchitoches NSU Folk Festival, July 18th and 19th.
Luxury without limits at Jaguar of Shreveport. Online at jaguarofshreveport.net.
News Radio 710 Keel. News Radio 710 Keel. News Radio 710 Keel. News Radio 710. Giving you the edge. This is America on the Edge with CL Bryant and Stephen Parr on News Radio 710 Keel.
Welcome back to America on the Edge with CL Bryant. I am Stephen Parr. And this situation in Israel with Israel and Hamas fighting, Netanyahu, I personally believe Netanyahu is going to try and take out all of Hamas's military capability.
More power to him.
And he's going to try and destroy the tunnels where they're smuggling in weapons.
Go for it.
And he's going to try and take out warehouses and storehouses and take out the leadership.
I hope he's successful.
And I don't think he's going to stop until he feels like he has decimated their ability to inflict
Decimate
war.
them. Turn it into a parking lot, as far as I'm concerned, and we eliminate a lot of problems. Hate to sound that way, folks, but you know what? I can, well, I'm not going to go there with you, but just the same, I wish him well as far as his endeavors in destroying the enemies of Israel.
And I really don't think there's a whole bunch of push around the world right now to force Israel to stop. Think about 2012, 2009, when Israel and Hamas were into this exchange of firepower. Immediately you heard people saying, hey, wait, let's put the brakes on. Hey, stop. Hey, let's hold on. You're not really hearing that cry right now. And I think it's because Egypt has decided the Muslim Brotherhood has to go.
They got to go.
And so they're fine with Hamas going down.
Right.
Even the Palestinian Authority is saying, you know what, if we get the Gaza Strip back away from Hamas, maybe we can make things better for all Palestinians.
The handwriting is on the wall for Hamas. And even the Saudis want Hamas gone.
Right, because the Saudis are also looking at what ISIS is doing in Iraq and Syria, and they're not comfortable with that. They're not comfortable with Iran responding to it. And Hamas is Iran puppet, basically.
Exactly. And then there's a trend in this country that is beginning to betray the trust in the leadership of this administration as far as the Middle East is concerned. Used to, you would hear a lot of left-wing pundits coming on, downing Israel and talking against Israel as far as defending themselves. You're not hearing that either.
Well, I don't think there's someone on the left who can speak with authority to it, because if Barack Obama wanted to speak with authority about something going on in the Middle East, he's going to have a hard time pointing to anything he's done in the Middle East in his tenure in office that has been successful.
Well, we thank God for another day, and want to also thank our men and women from sea to shining sea and in faraway lands who give us this privilege to sit behind this microphone. This is CL Bryant, along with Stephen Parr. We look to see in about 24 hours where you'll not live on the edge, but you'll have the edge with us here. America on the Edge. Talk to you soon.
Keep America strong and living free.